All right, y'all. So I'm about to do some story time with y'all real quick. So, um, one of my clients that I worked with probably since had to been at least 2018, 2019. He's an older guy. Um, he had at least $200,000 that he didn't spent on his music career, his album. Um, I'm talking about $10,000 a track, big studio, Grammy Award winning engineer, Grammy Award winning um, musicians, all of this stuff. And, he's an older artist. And he thought, if I just, well, really the engineer said that, once we get the music produced and recorded, I'm connected with Sony, I'm connected with this and that, I'll get you connected with such and such and blah, blah, blah. So that's why he didn't have a problem with spending that much money, right? Because in his mind, he thought, well, he's connected to these people, I don't mind paying for this high production. Now, remember, I always tell you guys, 90% of your budget needs to be marketing, 10% production, which means if you don't have tens of thousands of dollars for production, then you shouldn't be putting that towards production because you don't have enough for marketing. So if you only got $1,000, then you need to work with one song instead of trying to squeeze a whole album and $1,000, and then you don't have money for marketing, right? So anyways, he found that out later after he contacted me. So when he contacted me, I was just like, okay, we started on like $100 a month plan. Gave him a super discount based off of his situation and things like that. But I didn't know to the fullest extent of how much he spent. And he had an investor who basically took out her 401k, like her life savings. It was like an older woman who believed in him. And it was like extremely sad. I was just like, whoa, now mind you, I'm finding this out much, much later. And you have somebody take out their life savings for you. And this is the craziest part. She passed away before all the music was done. He couldn't even like play her the music. And then after she passed away, nothing happened with the music. Because once it was done, the engineer was like, my job was to record the music. And I was just like, bro, like, now I'm talking to him on the phone. I'm like, bro, like, did you try to like, I was just trying to get as much details as possible. I was like, okay, so what did you pay for? Because that's probably what you guys are asking. He was like, he paid for a harpist. He paid for, guitar players because he was he had like live instruments and stuff like that. And timpani players, violin player, just all type of stuff he was paying for. And these people were quote unquote Grammy award winning people that's been on big projects. I played for this person, I played for Frank Sinatra, I played for Stevie Wonder, I played for, you just hear all this stuff. And that justifies the price. And I was just like, and I was like, okay, so when you were there, because I was like, break down the pricing of this. Like, how are you paying $10,000 a track? Like, how are you itemizing this and break this down? And he was just like, the engineer told me like a flat rate, and basically the studio musician would come in and record whatever they record, and that was that. I was like, so were you there? Like, was it hourly? He was like, no, I wasn't there every time. I was like, you wasn't there every time? I was like, bro, if this is like a xylophone player and they playing like 5 notes, they could be there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, they could be in the studio for 4 hours, but actually them laying down something, it could have took like 30 minutes, and I'm not trying to like discourage them and make them feel bad. It's just like, bro, like, it's just so crazy how much money you spent. And he has invoices and all that stuff. And I was just like, bro, like, there's no way that you can, like, it was just insane. So during this process of throughout the years, me hearing about this, I just recently got the full story within the last like 6 months of what's going on. And after he's gotten, and let me just explain the $100 a month plan. It was basically Spotify. We had a small Spotify service, Spotify and YouTube service that he was on, and then he moved up to like a $400 plan. He did that for a bit, and then he wanted to do our viral plan, which is reaching 2 million people worldwide in XYZ. And he just now finished his final payment today after 3 years. It took him 3 years to pay this $5,000. And I'll tell you another reason why it took that long. He had some videographer that was going to do this big music video for him, because with the viral plan, we add your music video into our YouTube playlist that has 1 million plus views on it. So when we add different videos to the YouTube playlist, people automatically view videos that are in the playlist. It's a real slick marketing tactic. No plug, even though this is a marketing channel. So he ended up paying this guy like $10,000. And I was just like, bruh, why? I find this out later because he's piecing payments here and there and stuff. I'm thinking we're gonna get this done in like 6 months. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm paying you, but I'm also paying this videographer. He shot videos for this person. He was on this movie set with such and such and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, these names, man, y'all gotta stop. Like, if this person is so big and this person is working with this person and that person, why would they want to work with you? They could just continue working with who they're working with. And they probably didn't even get paid. What they do is they parlay them working with a big name to justify outrageous prices with you. And the quality of work is the same as anybody else who doesn't have a quote unquote name. Names don't mean anything. Output matters the most. Can you do X, Y, and Z? Can you do it on time, and can you do it efficiently? That's what matters. Names do not matter, okay? And your work. Can you show me the work that you've done consistently, not this one big name? Let me see all the small projects. Let me see somebody who isn't Beyonce that you worked with, and let me see if you did Beyonce work for this person or the same level or quality at the level that they're at, that where I want to be at, that's close to me, right? So yeah, he's been up paying that, and then the guy ended up running off with the money, basically saying that the money that you sent was going to the wrong Cash App this whole time, and he was paying him payments, and it was just a big mess. And I was just like, wow, that's a shame. He was like, yeah, man. And as I'm watching your videos, you're talking about the 90-10 rule and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, bro, like, you can just get a videographer to pay you $300, $500 to get you a video and put $10,000 into marketing. And he was like, yeah, man, after all this time, blah, blah, blah. Then he was trying to get with some other artists to like pitch in and collaborate on this particular song and help with the budget for marketing, which is a good technique, which is not necessarily a technique, but it's a good collaborative effort by saying, okay, I got this song, let me add 2 more people to the song or 3 more people to the song. Let's do a collaborative song. Let's go in on the music video, and then let's go in on the marketing. But the thing is, not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody is on the same page. Not everybody has the same work ethic. Not everybody wants to spend the right amount of money to get the results that they want. So that delayed it even further, because he's trying to, talk to these people, and they're like, well, who is this Mic Check Global guy? What has he done? Da-da-da-da, just asking me all these questions because they don't want to pay for it. Okay, so if you're in any word of advice for anybody that's in any type of service business, when people start trying to like nail you to the cross about what you've done and who are you and all that, they don't have the money. The people who have the money ask you, what have you done that you can justify the payment? Because they're interested in what you're offering, not grandstanding and, well, I work with this person. Who did you work with? And really, you need to do it for free because really, and I did this by myself and All that is just deep down inside, they don't have the money for it. / they don't want to pay for it. They want to get people under them. So I've worked with artists for 10 plus years, so I'm pretty aware of that. And people trying to say, well, I got this much money that I want to spend. And it's like, people who have the money don't talk like that. People who are serious and who are coachable don't talk like that. So if I ever was to make a mistake and not work with you, chances are in my favor that you didn't even have the money to begin with. So I could just be like, I'm not interested in what you're talking about, or just end the conversation, or just, yeah. Oh, for real? Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. You know, we could definitely talk about that a little later. But hey, you know what? I got this call I got to get on. I'll talk to you a little bit later, and never talk to them again. Right? So, you know, that's just that part. But yeah, so he finally made his final payment today, guys. And that's just a story time that I want to give you guys. I'm thinking I'm going to do some more story times of just like different clients that I can remember throughout the years, because I have a lot of stories. So let me know if you guys like this. I might do a few more stories and see if it catches on or whatever. You know, people that's on my YouTube or just in the algorithm may check this out. I may figure out a way how to clip this on to Instagram, or clip this to TikTok or something like that, being that this is long form content, and just see if people even care. But I got tons and tons of stories. I have to just go back and think. Some stories aren't going to be that long. It may just be an experience of a client that I can think of. But I've worked with thousands of artists since 2013 is when I started Mike Che Global. And you know, I can either talk about some successes, or I could talk about some kind of wonky kind of stories like this, or whatever. Not every story is going to be like super like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a whole lot of those, but if I think of some, then I'm gonna do videos on them over time. All right, so if y'all like this, shoot me a comment on here. I'll reply to comments and let me know what you guys think. If you all want me to bring him on to interview him, this isn't somebody that is like a past client, like he's current. So I could bring him on, interview him, and put this on YouTube. So let me know if you guys want me to bring him on. Peace.